Okay, so today we're going to do a gym on a breakdown with Nico. We're going to dig into how he's built his gym business over the last few years. So, just to get started, mate, just tell us a little bit about your gym. So, what kind of gym, where you're based, how long you've been running, and what your model is.
Yeah, sure. So we're north of Scotland, pretty far up. Been running about 8 years now. Went from like the typical journey that a lot of gym owners make, PT, circuit classes, then into group PT, and that's primarily what we run now. And that's what we've got right now is just a group PT, which we run 8 to 1 with our AM and PM classes.
Yeah. All right, nice. So, I mean, we've worked together a couple of times at different stretches over the last few years. So, I guess take us back to closer to the beginning when we first started working together, like what was going on in the business at that point? Like where were you at? Was the model different? What were you kind of looking to improve on and things like that?
Yeah, so that's yeah. I mean, when we first started working together, we were a 4 to 1 model, but that was purely because of space. At the time, we just had one unit. But I think the biggest thing for us was that we were good at running sessions and we gave a good service, but there was a lot of things we lacked. And certainly one of the things that we lacked was really good systems because we were doing a lot of manual labor of getting people to move into this software, following up with them manually. And then on top of that, one of our biggest problems was trying to grow quick enough as well. We wanted to grow, but we were primarily just done through word of mouth. We didn't really touch into Facebook ads. We didn't really know how to do that. And then when we first signed up with you guys, instantly we had a solid system that worked, that had a lot of automation, that would do a lot of the tasks that you don't want to do as a coach in the background with Ontraport and the landing pages and the emails and everything just kind of started working. But then on top of that as well, you helped us run adverts, which then brought in people quicker. So we grew a lot quicker. I think when we first signed up with you guys, I think we tripled our membership base within about 4 months. It was
Yeah.
nuts. And then when we worked with you guys for a couple of years and then we left, and then after we left, we started to kind of neglect, I suppose, the adverts a bit. And we still ran good sessions. We still had the systems in place from when we left, but we stopped paying attention to the adverts. So we'd grown and then we stagnated and we tried a couple other things. We stagnated for, I think it must have been about a 2 to 3 year gap between us first working together and then us coming back on. And I didn't really put a lot of effort into actually growing at that point as well. I had other stuff going on. And then it got to a point where I was kind of just in that mindset where I was thinking, I do want to grow quickly again and we do want to hit these targets. And that's when we started working together again. And that's been just over a year now, I think maybe 13, 14 months. I've been back with you guys and that has filled our facility. Like we literally have to stop advertising now because we don't have space to bring people in, which is a good problem, a really good problem. And we went past the amount of people we were trying to aim for at the end of this year by a good amount, by sort of 30, 35 members extra on top of the
Yeah.
target that we were looking for.
Nice. So, what do you think then, in that second stretch of us working together over the last year or so, what were kind of like the big needle movers, so to speak, that kind of helped you get that progress from, where you were at to having exceeded kind of your membership targets and being in the position now, which I know we've spoken about recently, where, the gym's largely full, you're at capacity and you're quite out of the day to day as well.
Yeah, yeah, hugely. I suppose the biggest needle movers for us was like when we first started, you guys were like, right, okay, we're gonna set this up for you. Okay, so that's got set up. That was great. So you're like, okay, here's something that's gonna work. Here's how it works. And then we're just taught again how to continuously do that rather than just here's a plug and play and then that's it done. And then we don't actually know how it works. It
Yeah.
was giving us that kind of that crutch, that step up, but then also going, this is how you continue making that work. So now we've got the information to know how that works and continue it on whenever we need to set up the ads again. And that's, I think, the biggest thing that works really well is that you've got the templates and you've got the things that work and we can plug that in, but also we know how to manage it. It's like buying a car, but then on top of that, someone kind of follows you around and is like, if this breaks, you can change this, rather than having
Yeah.
to pay for a brand new car again, which
Yeah.
is is really quite nice. So we've got that knowledge and we've got like the system set up for it, which is really good. And because of that, now that we've filled the facility and, you know, we obviously with filling a facility brings in more revenue, we're now able to pay our coaches above average salaries, well above average salaries, which is great because we've got a really solid team in place and we want to keep them and we want to make sure they're looked after as well. So we can pay them a bit more. And it's allowed me to step back. And now we don't have to focus so much on the marketing and growing. I can now work on the things that I want to improve in the business itself. And I
Yeah.
have the time to do that where I'm not on the gym floor with my phone going off because someone's like a lead's phoning or you know, there's a problem with this bit of software and I can't sort it because I'm on the gym floor and I'm coaching. Even though I love coaching, it's like, you know, as someone who owns the gym, you still have to fix these problems on top of it. So it's relieved a lot of the pressure for me to be in the gym all the time at the same time. And
Yeah.
we can now develop the gym into, you know, a much better place. Not that it's bad, but into a much better place than what it is now
Yeah.
because we don't have that pressure of growing all the time. So
Yeah. You made a couple of good points there on, um, you know, you love coaching, but then you do need to be more of the business owner. And I think that's what a trap a lot of gym owners fall into is like they come into opening a gym as I'm the coach. I love being the coach and all that kind of stuff without fully, you know, having the realization and understanding that you're not really a coach anymore. Like, although that's maybe at the heart of what you do, you're now a business owner that happens to run a gym. And I think that's something that we've always tried to do to then flip back further to what you were saying is not just do what maybe some, you know, you can pay marketing agencies and sales agencies and they kind of take things off your hands, which is great. But we've always tried to do a combination of, well, we'll do agency style setups for systems and marketing and sales process and all that kind of stuff. So it's a quick install of the main things that you need, but then also teach you how it works so that whilst it's installed into the business, you can continue operating that moving forward. So then, you know, to flip back to my original point, like you become a better business owner, not just someone who's outsourced something to a third party and you're getting results whilst you're paying, but then maybe not after the fact, if that makes sense.
yeah, totally. And I would just agree with that. I have all the trainings in there to develop your skill set of onboarding new coaches, making your systems better, writing emails, organic marketing. You know, there's all this stuff there that can help you manage the business better. But you've also got the, you know, the ease of not having to learn it straight away in order to start getting results.
Yeah.
Because like instantly, as soon as we came on board, we started getting results. And it was the same as the first time. And that's the reason why I came back again, because we've been with you guys before and we know we can trust that, you know, it works, you know? So it was a no brainer to come back in for the second time. So yeah, I would just agree with what you were saying, really.
All right, perfect. Um, Numbers wise, then, is there anything that you're happy to share in terms of like growth, members, revenue, or anything like that? That you're like, this was a big win for us, you know, on either of the periods that we worked together.
Yeah. So, I mean, when we first worked together, like I said, within like, I don't even think it was a full 4 months. I think, you know, it was maybe just under that, but we tripled our membership base, which was great. And then we kept growing as well. And then when we came back on board, we had stagnated. I don't know. We kind of lost quite a few members. We'd taken some classes off and stuff. So that caused like a drop. And then when we started back for you guys, I think we were kind of hovering about 100-ish members. And that's us now up to 160, is 166 members plus people on trial right now. And our goal at the end of the year was 136. So it's a
Mm.
massive chunk extra of people that we were looking at. And now we've just gotten to the point where we can't grow in two different ways. One, we can't grow logistically because we can't fit any more people in the gym without affecting the service, but also is because we're just sitting underneath that 20% VAT threshold and we just don't want to push past that because it wouldn't be worth it. So we've got these two good problems and we're just
Yeah.
sitting in a really good position because we have a demand for people to come in and we want to bring people in, but we just in two different ways can't, which is, I suppose, is a good problem to have.
Yeah, definitely is. I suppose then as well, aside from the numbers, like how I know things have changed for you personally in terms of how you kind of operate within the business. I don't know if you're happy to share some stuff on that because I know a lot of gym owners will, you know, myself included in the early days, like everything kind of is relying on you for a long time. And then finding a way to kind of work yourself out of the day to day into a position where, like your business is now, where you're at capacity, 160 plus members, plus trialists, good revenue, and then also not being like required on the gym floor day to day? Like, what has your experience been with that? And what do you think were some of the like bigger steps that allowed you to get to that point as well?
I think a lot of it is compounded like over time. It's not like I feel like, a lot of the time people see sort of stories like this and they go, oh, and there was one thing that just happened and all of a sudden it was amazing. It's like that's 8 years of kind of like learning from guys like you about how to do all these put all these systems in place and ads and all that kind of thing. But I think the biggest thing is allowing myself to learn how to develop a team and then giving them the reins and the systems to do the jobs that are required to do so you can trust them and you can step back and they've got something they can work on that's not just coaching at the same time. And because of that, it now means that the service is still really, really good and all the members are really happy with it. And then I can step back and then I can now do things like I can choose whether I walk my kids to school in the morning,
Yeah.
like I get to spend a bit more time with them. I can now make my work really flexible. So if I do a lot of long distance running, so I can now go and do my long distance run during the day when it's daylight and not have to worry about going out at night because I could do the work that needs done at night instead. So it makes it a lot more flexible and it makes your life just a little bit less stressful. I say a little bit, like a big bit less stressful. It's actually quite nice. So I suppose that's kind of the biggest thing, but that's always just done from like learning, constantly learning, taking on board what like you guys have and the trainings and things that are available in the program itself as well. So yeah, just lots of things that kind of compound together that make life a bit less stressful and then give you a bit more freedom as well,
Yeah.
which is quite nice.
All right. Perfect. Last couple of questions then. So the first one of the two is, what would you say that our relationship work together? What would you say your two or three like biggest wins or benefits from the whole process that we've gone through so far?
Yeah, I think, I think the biggest thing is is knowing you guys have a gym and or like, had a gym and you had like the practice in place and that's kind of builds a bit of trust and you're like, okay, I know these guys have done this and it worked. And I think as well on top of that is the fact that I know that I can just reach out with a question and I know it'll get answered. And I know you guys will kind of look at whatever it is that is the problem rather than just go and watch this training. Instead, it's more of a conversation, or it's like, here is a training that we've done on it. There's a lot of resources there that help. And I think as well, like, I think the biggest thing for me coming back onto the program was from before, I know that you guys have our best interests as well. Well, I've done mentorships before, and you know fine well you're just in there to pay their money. Like that's the only thing they care about. But like, you'll get a message from Jess or a message from Carl, a message from yourself if you've got questions, and it's always an in-depth answer. It's never just like a couple of words and then that's it, and you're kind of like annoying the person or that. So I think that's the support is really good. And the fact that you guys have the experience of not just being a mentor, it's I've got a gym, we've done all this before, we've been in your position, we know what it feels like, is probably the biggest things that kind of work in that way.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, obviously, on the support side of things, we've definitely always tried to keep that as high level as possible. And then we've always, since day one with this, kind of focused everything that we teach, all the systems and processes, based on things that we've actually done. So things that we've tried and tested, in my own gym or with, test clients, on the program as well. So we're not just throwing at you like random, bits of theory and this might work. It's like stuff that we know has been tried and tested, for sure. Final question then. Obviously, you've come a long way over the last 8 years since you opened the gyms. For a broader piece of advice that maybe you would give yourself, if you could go back, speak to yourself day one and say, here's something you should really know, something that maybe other gym owners can learn from and get value from, what would you say that would be for you?
If I went back 8 years ago, I would instantly start doing Facebook ads straight away. I would
Yeah.
just be like trying to capitalize on that 50 pence leads or whatever it was back then that I just didn't make use out of. But no, I think I would just say like at the start, it's going to be really, really hard and it's probably going to suck for a long time until you get to, there's always that tipping point where it just gets a bit easier. But it would just be, get started with Facebook ads. Obviously, make sure you're running a really, really good service. Get started with Facebook ads, start bringing people in, and make sure you've got good systems that can take a lot of the manual labor away from you. Like, I think now it's even easier with AI and everything that's in place. You could literally have
Mm.
most of the rubbish work done for you, even, like writing SOPs, like, with
Yeah.
chat GPT and things like that, is just try and get everything laid out. Spend a bit of time on the boring stuff so that you have all that systems in place so that it takes away all the labor from, doing the really important stuff. Not that it's not important, but the stuff that's actually going to
Yeah.
focus to
You
grow
to
your
you to
business
yeah, yeah, that
and
makes
nail down
sense.
that Facebook ads because they work. They just work,
Yeah. Mate, I look back at, like, acquisition costs and stuff like that from 5, 10 years ago, and I'm like, "Fuck, I should have spent more money."
Yeah.
Because it's only gets more expensive over time.